Brakti Yahweh, Brakti Yahushai, Brakti Yahweh, Brakti Yahushai, Brakti Yahweh, Brakti Yahweh, Bashim Yahushai, Bashim, Chakudash. That belongs to the apostles and the elders of Great Millzone True Well. Salutations to the hopeful elect out there, you Akim, to Sadakim, that do this thing in the utmost truth and sincerity. On the pre-Shaman, this week's topic is going to be entitled, Let All Things Be Done in Decency and in Order. And that's inspired by the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 14, verse 40, where it says, Let all things be done. Pardon me. It says, Let all things be done decently and in order, right? And what inspired this lesson? Well, you had the IUIC had uploaded a video going into they don't believe that the Sabbath is held by the new moon, but the thing that was out of order was it was teaching a woman that has been taught by an Israelite man, namely a man in Great Millstone, right? And I guess, for clickbait purposes or view purposes, they couldn't wait to put Great Millstone in the title. They thought they were dealing with a sister because the sister said, look, the Sabbath is, by the new moon. They said, where you learned that from? Great Millstone? She said, yes. Now, whether or not she's still with a member from Great Millstone, the woman is with child, pardon me. And that right there lets you know, like, look, she got a man, right? Now, what does the scripture say in that same chapter, 1 Corinthians, the 14th chapter, when you read verse 35, it says, and if they, the woman, all right, that's the day that it's talking about, will learn anything, let them ask their husbands at home, right? Let them ask their husbands at home, for it is a shame for a woman to speak in the church. So women, when they learn things, they should be learning from their husbands at home, whether the woman is with a man in the truth or not. You're not supposed to be teaching another man's wife. But I guess in their zeal, and it could be either zeal, because here's the thing, the guy that's teaching this woman could sincerely believe that he's doing the right thing in the Lord. All right, oh look, I'm trying to save this sister from a bad doctrine, and they're talking about telling her to get married and this, that, and the whole shit was just off. But he could be sincerely being wicked, right? Or it could be another thing where these guys are just being devious. They want to keep going back and forth with Great Millstone to make us look bad or what have you. But in doing so, they made themselves look bad, because it is better to obey than to give sacrifices, right? Because we just read the scripture, no matter what. I know you were excited about trying to prove that the Sabbath is not according to the new moon, or you were excited about, oh shit, we got a Great Millstone member wife, and we're about to tell her this, that, and the third. Whether you think you're doing a good thing or not, you have to obey the scriptures first and foremost. And the scripture says in the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 15, verse 22, it says, and Samuel said, at the Lord Yahweh as great the delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices, as in obeying the voice of the Lord. Behold, to obey is better than sacrifices, and to hearken than the fat of rams. Right, because Samuel was given a commandment to slay a particular nation, and he didn't do it, right? He instead took their animals for burnt sacrifices. And the prophet Samuel is telling, Saul disobeyed the commandment of the Lord, was just to go over there and slay that particular nation. However, he didn't do that, all right? He kept their lambs and all that for sacrifices, and this is what it's written. It's better just to obey, to listen, do what the Lord say, than to give your particular views of sacrificing, like, oh, this will be better. You brothers out here that have wives or deal with women, it's very, very annoying when you tell her, I'll give you an example. I tell my woman, yo, babe, go to the store, get some arugula. They didn't have arugula, so I got spinach. I get fucking mad when she does that, because who the fuck told you to get spinach? All right? I wanted arugula. If there's no arugula, I don't get nothing unless I say otherwise, So you rather when somebody listen to you, all right, than to try to say, oh, that wasn't there, so let me do this. No. So if the scriptures is telling you blatantly, if a woman wants to learn anything, any sort of breakdown, if she has a husband, let her learn from home. Now, if she is not betrothed or doesn't have a husband, okay, yeah, you could teach her, all right, you could tell her some things, whatever. But the point is, that woman, you see that she has a baby in her, and then not only on top of that, you're gonna talk to her about, you got to get papers and marriage, and who the fuck are you? What are you doing teaching? The whole shit was wicked and off, and you got to be equal in judgment. That sister should have not been there listening. Should have not been there listening. You have a man. You shouldn't stop and listen to any other Israelite group, especially one that conflict with Great Millstone. We don't even teach within Great Millstone. We're not going to teach another man's woman. How much more so? Meaning in Great Millstone, I wouldn't teach another brother's woman. What the hell? That's off. So it's even more off when you listen to a whole nother camp with their own doctrine, their own strange women, their own philosophies, So that whole shit was a shit show. And it is better, again, to just do what the Lord said. Before you get into this whole new moon thing, wait a minute, brother, hold up. That's another man's woman. What the hell are you doing? You have no business teaching that woman. You see? I never seen the apostles teach anything to no woman that got a man knowingly. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they might have known and they find out, okay, well, sister, this thing intrigues you, talk to your husband about it, see how he feels about it, and if you want, then you could bring him around the camp. I mean, if he's intrigued, then you bring him around the camp, we could teach him. That's how you do things, you see? This is the book of Hosea, chapter 6, verse 6. It says, "For I desired mercy and not sacrifice, and the knowledge of the Most High more than burnt offerings." So the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of the scriptures. Remember Proverbs 4 and 7. With all thy gettings, get understanding. The Most High desires that more than burnt offerings. So before you could go into your particular breakdown and understanding of the Sabbath, all right, what's basic knowledge? Simple knowledge. If she was to learn anything, let her learn from a husband at home. Point blank, period. It's that simple. All right? Save that whole back and forth concerning the Sabbath with other men that'll learn. All right? You have no business teaching another man's woman. That's off, man. And that camp does a bunch of things that's off, but you can see what they're doing. Whether it was a guy teaching, or maybe somebody in that camp got a hold of the video and said, man, yo, we could do this and do that. And what does the IUIC do? Every time Great Millstone, all right, try to stop and interact with other camps, just know that they don't have the best. They're going to skew the title. They're going to make us look bad. Don't even do it. You know what I mean? Don't even stop. And I see the IUIC all the fucking time. They have the big billboard out where I live at. I see them in, different parts of where I live at. I'm not going to stop and go back and forth with them on the camera, man. Even this dude I saw, the Lima dude, they call him the Lima. Deacon I had done. See them guys a bunch of times. Actually, I even saw them on my way to camp. I had my campsite. I'm not stopping and talking to them, man. All right? Because you're going to think you're sitting there. You're going to think you're sitting there having a sincere conversation, trying to have reasonable discourse. Next thing you know, they're going to upload, put some crazy title and make you look foolish and embarrass you. You see? So you're best off not even fucking doing anything like that, man. My woman asked about them dudes in the purple. I said, look, baby, you see them, keep it fucking pushing. She was like, okay. All right? It's that simple. You have no business talking about to no other camp or none of that, because like Apostle Tahar said, these debates could be endless, because you go back and forth. It's extremely rare. You might as well find a fucking gold on the floor, all right, to see one man leave thinking the other way. You know what I mean? Like if we sat down with the IUIC and we go back and forth for hours, showing them this scripture, that scripture, more than likely we're gonna both just leave in what we're thinking from the very beginning. It's not gonna change our minds because most of us are set in our beliefs. The Most High is the one that's gonna have to really persuade them dudes in the IUIC to come around. You know what I mean? Which is not impossible for the Lord to do. Okay, but through debates, damn near that shit is pointless, man. That shit is pointless. For most, I don't want to say it's completely pointless because sometimes these back and forth edification can come out of it, right? Some sort of from the people that's watching and can receive who's really and discern in the spirit who's really going into the scriptures. I give you an example, the back and forth recently with Al-Azhar and the New Covenant guys. Hey, well, there was some stuff to be taken out there that was on point by Al-Azhar. All right, now I'll say this much: we in Al-Azhar is not in Great Millstone. He was once part of Great Millstone, Sakari, but they teach different things. All right, but that in that little back and forth banter, all right, that was over 3 hours. Guess what? They left thinking what they were thinking, and Sakari left thinking what they were thinking. Nothing changed, but from that little discourse, some sort of edification did come forth. All right, mainly making them guys look completely foolish, you know, and not in agreement. 1 Corinthians 1 and 10. We have to all be of one mind. The moment you're not teaching the same thing as a member of, you know, your group, then it's off. You see, it's off. So that whole shit was off. They shouldn't have been teaching that sister. That sister had no business stopping and listening. Okay, and things like that shouldn't be done. All right, with that, I'm going to give all praises to Yahweh, Bashim Yahweh Shah, Bahashim Chakudash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone True Well. Salutations to the hopeful elect out there, you Akim to Zadakim that do this thing in the utmost truth and sincerity. Shalom.